Player ratings from the historic win in Bodo last night. First up is Vicario. Look, I only remember him, we're giving him 7s. I only remember him making one real save, to be honest. Doing well in terms of his long kicking out the back and relieving the pressure from that point of view. But yeah, I mean, he was hardly tested, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was a comfortable day for him. Obviously, definitely changed up his goal kicks, wasn't playing it short as much. And maybe that helped him because it just meant he had a lot of clarity when it came to getting the ball to feet. He just basically pumped it long a lot of the time, looking for Rishi or for Solanke, and he was working a lot of the time. Made one good save. It was a decent save, to be fair, because he was heading, I think, just dipping under the bar, so he had to claw it away. It's a fair play. Other than that, it was a very comfortable day for him.
Pedro Porro, 9s all round for Pedro. And this guy has really, really stepped up in this latter stage of the season where it really matters. And what I loved from Pedro yesterday, you know, he always comes over to the away fans and gives it all that. But last night, he did it about 5 or 6 times. He was loving it last night, Pedro. And this was just during the game. And after the game, obviously, he came over and was celebrating like a head case. But during the game yesterday, I felt like he was our main outlet in terms of going forward. He was the most creative player on the park. And when you don't have Maddison, you really need someone else to step up in that aspect. And I think he really did that. And then from a defensive standpoint, I thought he was part of a back four that just didn't really put a foot wrong.
Yeah, I think their winger really struggled up against him. And I think he was basically had him in his pocket throughout most of the game. I think on the ball, phenomenal. Obviously, he had a really good free kick, as you said, which was tipped over the bar. That was a really good effort. I think what was actually one of our main points of attack was getting the ball into him in midfield and having those switches of play and getting Richarlison in space. And those long kind of direct switches from him was fantastic. And I think he was doing really good stuff, linking with Johnson. He would play it back to him and he would just take one touch and just bam, a long switch right into the feet of Richarlison. And that was really creating opportunities for us. And that was our best moment of attack. And obviously, bit of luck with it, but he did get the goal. He got the second goal.
You telling me he didn't mean that?
Maybe he meant it. Look, if anyone would have meant it, probably Porro, to be fair.
I don't think he meant it.
I don't think either, but if anyone did, it's probably Porro because he's got the quality to do that. And obviously, got a bit of luck, but I think his quality was really, really important in this game. And he's just on amazing form, especially in these Europa League games. I think he's playing so well at the moment with his delivery. And I think I saw a tweet yesterday calling him Trent Light, and that's what it's looking like. And maybe it's Trent is Porro Light.
Kuti Romero up next. 9s all round for Kuti. And you know what? A lot of fans have been bemoaning the fact of leadership ability in the team, and I felt like he led that backline by example last night. And I've had my words to say about Kuti Romero and leadership and all that kind of stuff, but last night in specific, I thought he led that team exemplary well. Really, really top performance in that aspect. Defensively, so aggressive up against his man all the time, winning his duels, winning his area. He just was so dominant. So dominant, and again, part of the back line that was just so key to us, and grabbed himself an assist as well for the first goal, Solanke's goal.
Yeah, I think he was phenomenal, and I think Kuti has been himself been so important in this kind of cup run. I think he's really locked in and performed as well as we know he can in these cup games, these knockout games, and I think the experience he's had for Argentina in tournament football, in Copa America and World Cup, he's really brought that into these knockout games, and I think he's been phenomenal for them. And he's one of the few players who knows how to get through these games and knows how to be disciplined in these kind of games and knows how to manage them. And I think he's been absolutely phenomenal in these cup games. And I think yesterday again, obviously won the header for the goal, but I thought their striker pretty much had absolutely nothing. And I think a lot of that was just down to how disciplined and how good Kuti was. So phenomenal.
And it wasn't just down to him, it was down to his partner as well, Mickey van der Ven, who Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9 as well. To be honest, I'm going to give a spoiler, I gave the whole backline 9s just because of the unit that they created together as well, not just for individual displays. But Van der Ven, again, just so dominant, so aggressive. I felt it was even more aggressive from Van der Ven in this game than we've seen probably all season. He was... you just knew there was just an air of no one is getting past any of these players, but particularly Mickey van der Ven yesterday, and another top performance.
Yeah, and there was that one moment as well in the first half, which I think similar to the Frankfurt game, they played a long ball over the top. It looked like for a moment Bodo might be in,
Never.
But then Van der Ven puts on the afterburners and he shut it down, and that was it. That was pretty much the only opening they had. So I think, he had a phenomenal game. I think him and Kuti pretty much had their attack on lockdown. There was a couple of moments as well, as you say, he was pressing in their half, and there was one moment actually where he wins the ball on their left wing, and he's literally in on goal. But the referee decided for some reason to blow up for a foul, and on replay it didn't look like a foul to me. So I think he was unlucky on that occasion. So I think brilliant, and the partnership they've had in these Europa games has been fantastic. And I think they complement each other so well, and it's another great performance.
Yeah, a lot of these players, they're just saving their best performances for these big games right now, and it's such a joy to behold. It really is. And another player that is following that example is Destiny Udogie. 9s all round. Unbelievable over the course of both legs. Unbelievable over the course of the both legs in Frankfurt, against Frankfurt as well. And, we said before the game, didn't we, that he really had the beating of their fullback. And I felt like he was just getting up and down that left-hand side like it was no one's business. Players pinging off him. He's just so physical, defensively so strong. Nothing got past him throughout the evening. And I just felt like he was just got a constant outlet on that left-hand side.
Yeah, another really strong showing from Destiny Udogie, who's been phenomenal in the last few weeks again in this Europa League. I think it's so great to see him back to his best like he has been, because he's been so hard to deal with. And I think down that left-hand side, nothing's getting past him, and he's a constant threat. He was really unlucky as well in that first half not to get an assist, because he had a really good ball across the face of goal and just avoided Brennan. The keeper just got a touch on it. But I thought he was kind of threatening to do that quite a few times in that game, and I think he's really helping supporting the left winger a lot better in recent weeks as well. And it's really great to see Udogie in this kind of form, because we know he's got it in him. But another fantastic game from him.
Rodrigo Bentancur, another player who is really stepping up in these Europa League games. Him gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. And he was everywhere, wasn't he, Bentancur? Literally everywhere. Anytime Patrick Berg or any player had it in the middle of the park, he must have been looking round his shoulder like, is there a bad smell there? Oh no, it's Bentancur, because he was always there, always winning the ball back, so aggressive, covering every blade of grass. And I've been such a heavy critic in terms of Bentancur in the big games prior to the Frankfurt, against Liverpool and against Aston Villa. But it must be him just getting back to full fitness now, because you're seeing Bentancur putting in unbelievable displays now in this Europa League run. And I can't give him enough credit. And, I was saying to you a couple of weeks ago, I probably would sell him, and I probably would not give him another contract. But I think he's earned it now with these performances in the Europa League, to be honest. And he's just got this, I don't know what it is. There's just some aura around him in these games where it's just like, he's like possessed. He's just running around, winning the ball back countless amount of times, charging us up the pitch. The guy's brilliant. He really is brilliant.
I think it really helps him having a double pivot next to him rather than a lone 6. I think we've seen a much better Bentancur when he doesn't have as much ground to cover. And I think yesterday was another example of that. And I thought what was really great was, first of all, how he kind of picks the pocket of the midfielders and the attackers when he's on the edge of the box. But also, when they play those balls to the byline and they're looking like they're getting in behind, he just cuts out those cutbacks really effectively. Same with Bissouma, who we'll get onto in a minute. But I thought they were both doing such a great job at doing that. And I think in the middle of the park, I thought he was doing an exceptional job, just patrolling it, covering the areas he needed to cover, making sure no one was getting past him, dominating physically. And I thought he was imperious yesterday. Another unbelievable showing, and I think there are definitely signs of him getting back to those levels we know he can reach. And it's taken time, but I think we're finally seeing it on a fairly consistent basis, especially in the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to fathom, isn't it, a little bit, when he's had Bentancur and Bissouma, over the course of the last 2 seasons. And we're only seeing them like really play together now and to a really high level.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, whenever they've played together previously, it hasn't worked, has it?
But I mean, previously, I don't think they ever played in a double pivot though, did they?
Yeah, it's true. And usually it was either I think Bissouma in the 6 and Bentancur in the 8. That's usually how it was.
Because he's played like Bentancur and Sarr in a double pivot before, but never with like Bissouma.
And maybe he's found something here.
Yeah, I think he has. And look, Bissouma's next. We're giving him 8s all round. There's no question about it. This is like Bissouma's best couple of games this season by far.
Remontada?
I was just about to mention, like, could it be? Could it be? Because if you can play this like regularly with him and Bentancur on a double pivot, I mean, we just look so defensively sound with them there, like patrolling and protecting that back four. Bissouma just seems to be so comfortable in that position, and he's able to get on the ball, he's able to turn and drive us forward a little bit, and like from a defensive standpoint, he's just gobbling everything up. I haven't seen Bissouma look this comfortable for so long.
And I guess the problem will be is when, I think in these games we've played against Bodo, we've clearly had a tactic to not have the ball, to give them 70% of the ball and stuff like that. When we come up against different kind of teams who give us the ball, is Bentancur and Bissouma going to be enough? I guess that's a question for another day. But I think Bissouma in this game, again, was so switched on, concentrating for the 90 minutes, doing the right things, helping out Bentancur. Bentancur was helping him out as well, complementing each other. On the ball, had that little bit of quality. Yes, I think both of them probably play a bit too safe on the ball, which, if they're going to take this double pivot partnership to the next level, they're going to have to be a bit braver on the ball. But I think by and large, in terms of doing the job that was required, it's away from home in a semi-final and we have a 2-goal lead, they played it to perfection on this occasion. And I think Bissouma as well, fair play to him. He's been cast aside. He's been a player not fancied by Ange in recent weeks, not fancied by the fan base in recent weeks, come under a lot of criticism this season. But in the business end of the season, when we're in a semi-final and he's had to come in and step up due to injuries and things, he hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's done phenomenally. And if he does in the final, if he does leave, he'll depart a hero.
Yeah, absolutely. Decky up next. Him gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. Unfortunately, I thought he was Spurs' poorest player on the day. Didn't really impact that much going forward, and he was casted with being the most creative player in that midfield three, and I just don't think he did enough, to be honest. And I just felt like he's uncharacteristically weak on the ball at this moment in time, and he's just consistently getting shoved off it. And I don't know whether it's just that he's not at full fitness now and he's just not kind of at those physical levels, or he's just on really bad form. Maybe it's a bit of both, but he's just not playing well at the moment.
Yeah, we're definitely not seeing the best of him. That's definitely true. I think there are definitely signs of slight improvement, but more off the ball than maybe on the ball. Where he's not protecting the ball anywhere near the level he was. He's not really showing the quality on the ball in terms of his, chance creation and even shot shooting ability, all that kind of stuff. We're just not seeing that Decky that we know he's capable of for one reason or another. I did think off the ball, some of his pressing was really good, and I thought some of his movement was quite good as well, and it's been maybe a bit better than it was in previous weeks. But still, when he moved over to the right hand side for the last 20 minutes as well, and didn't really affect his game. Yeah, he's struggling. He's struggling to hit that form, and it's a concern, especially when we have no Maddison and no Bergvall going into that final. So let's hope he can start to hit some sort of level of performance going into that final over the next 2 games. But definitely at the moment, it's he's struggling, I think.
Brennan Johnson up next. Him gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. I mean, probably didn't have the required impact from an attacking output, in my opinion. But what I think he did really well, was his defensive work on the day yesterday. I thought he was helping out Pedro Porro on that right hand side consistently. And this is what I was saying to you before the game as well. Is like, this is what I want to see from Brennan Johnson coming into this game, because we saw it against Frankfurt in the away leg. And I think we've seen it again in the away leg here. I thought it was a brilliant defensive performance from Brennan. Yeah,
me too. And I think as you said, the way he was tracking his fullback constantly, every time it looked like the fullback was going to get past him, he kept just blocking that run, putting out for a throw, breaking up the play, blocking those passes as well. I think Brennan was doing a phenomenal job for the team. Yes, it wasn't maybe pretty at times. Yes, he could have been more involved offensively and creating chances and taking on his fullback and things that we always criticise him with. But no doubt about it, I think he did a massive role in just making sure that Bodo were nullified. And I think a big reason why they struggled to create chances was because of the stuff that Brennan and some of the other players were doing. So big up to him for doing a job for the team.
Richarlison up next. Him gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. I mean, he worked like an absolute dog, didn't he, Richarlison, out on the left-hand side. Again, like a bit similar to Brendan. I don't think he had the, required impact from an attacking perspective, but what he did do is just work tirelessly hard for the team. Definitely did a job for the team. However, going into the final, I would like to see maybe a Tell start out on that left-hand side. I do think he adds a bit extra from an attacking perspective, but look, did a great job for the team.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think definitely his position's up for grabs. I also kind of think the team overall is a lot more physical when he's in the team.
True.
And like we just have that physical edge over the opponent, and that could be crucial in the final. But yes, I think he needs to be doing more when he gets chances on the ball to impact the game. And he had a number of chances, I felt. Probably the one getting the most kind of chances to influence the game on yesterday. And more often than not, he's just his shot was blocked or his passing wasn't good enough. He had a nice few link-ups with Udogie down the left-hand side, which got Udogie in, and that was creating moments. But I think himself, our best outlet was Porro to Richarlison into space and then chances created. And I think he should be doing more from those moments, 100%, and he'll be a bit disappointed. There was actually one interesting moment just before he got taken off. He had a chance to take on his fullback and get a shot off. He kind of screwed it up, and immediately Ange looked over the bench and said, "Tell you coming on." So I think maybe I was Ange getting a bit frustrated with him. But I think he was doing defensively a great job for the team again. And I think he's kind of stepped in well over these last 2 legs on the left-hand side, just doing a really good job for the team.
Yeah, there was one actually funny moment in the first half, I think it was, where the fans started singing his name. Because obviously we're very close to the pitch. Fans start singing his name, and the ball comes over to him, and then he just literally just hits the ball out of play, like completely uncontested or anything, and then like the song just literally stopped dead at that. Anyway, let's move on to Dom Solanke. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. Tireless performance from Dom Solanke. These are the performances that you know he can produce. Like literally, his pressing from the front gave us such an aggressive element to the game. His hold-up play as well, I thought, was really good, causing the defenders to work so hard in the game. He was just literally like a bull in a china shop at times. Obviously, he got the goal, the first goal, which was a poacher's finish, but he just did not stop the whole game. He was, I couldn't believe, I didn't see him at the end of the game, but surely he dropped down to his knees or his feet or just lay down on the ground, because the amount of effort he put into that game was mad.
Yeah, and I think, especially considering he was kind of in a race against time to be fit for this game, and he missed the weekend, to play 90 minutes at the level he did, I thought was astounding. I thought it was a fantastic number 9's performance. I think he held up the ball really well, dribbling really well. I thought he was winning free kicks at crucial times. Wasn't that much of a goal threat, but when he needed to be, he found a moment to a good striker's goal, poacher's goal, got on the end of that Romero nod down, and obviously got the opening goal, which was all crucial in the context of the tie. We needed to get that first goal to kill it, and he was the one who did it. And I thought, as you said, tireless, continuously making a nuisance of himself, charging players down, holding them up and winning free kicks. I just thought it was a near perfect target man display from Solanke. Really happy. And the fact he played 90 minutes at that intensity as well, off the back of an injury, was really, really great going.
Yeah. Substitutes, Matisse Tell, 7s all round for Tell, who came on for Richarlison into the second half. And I felt like he did add a bit extra from an attacking perspective. He looked very bright out on that left-hand side. It was his corner that forced the first goal as well. Look, I don't think it was unbelievable performance, but it was just bright, I would say.
Yeah, I think, well, it was 0-0 when he came on. I think we did add a bit of impetus when he did come on. It added a bit more edge and a bit of energy. I think we started to press a bit more aggressively after we started to wane a bit, I felt, in that in that first hour or so. So in the first 50 minutes of that second half, I think he obviously put the corner in for the opening goal, and I just thought we looked a bit more threatening when he was on the pitch. And obviously we got a lot of confidence from that goal as well, I felt. But I thought Tell had a nice little cameo. Wasn't giving the ball away as much as he usually does as well. Nice little passes, keeping attacks flowing. So yeah, a nice cameo from him.
Pape Matar Sarr, Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. Look, I'm going to be brutally honest with this Pape Matar Sarr rating that I've given. I had no clue who was on the pitch till about 5 minutes to go, to be honest. I look on the pitch and I'm like, I turn around to Billy, I was like, when the hell did Pape come on? I had no clue that he came on. I don't know what he did on the pitch. So all I'm saying is I'm giving him a 7 just because of the occasion and the result that we got.
Yeah, it was a good cameo. I think it was a quiet cameo, so that's fair enough. You didn't notice it, but I think he just basically kept things simple, added a bit more energy in the middle of the park, and it was simple stuff. But yeah, it didn't do anything wrong really.
All right, and Ange Postecoglou, Sim gives him a 9. I give him a big fat 10. I got to give him so much credit because I give him enough stick throughout the season. So when he deserves the credit, I think it's well and duly deserved, to be honest. I thought yesterday he played an absolute blinder, threw the Bodo manager and team off completely with the tactics that they deployed. We were untouchable. The back four, the 2 players in midfield shielding it. They just were kept at arm's length for the whole of those 90 minutes. And to play in a semi-final when the fans had so much anxiety, saying, "Oh, that last goal in the end of the in the first leg, is going to put us under a lot of pressure." It did not come to that by any stretch of the imagination. You got to say, over the course of these 2 legs, we've been so comfortable in a European semi-final, and I got to give Ange a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the way he managed the game, the way he approached the game, the team selection, the way he spoke to his players after the game, the substitutions, I thought was all fantastic from him. A near perfect managerial kind of showing from Ange Postecoglou. And I think, considering the circumstances, the mentality of this team, the history of this team, to make such light work of a semi-final in any kind of year or level, to make such light work of it is phenomenal work. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care who the opponent was. The fact that we didn't have pretty much any moments that got us scared or any moments we were under the cosh, and to be so comfortable and to be so in control and to do that while kind of changing your tactics a bit and adjusting things and giving possession away and having a tactical plan for the opposition, I think was a phenomenal job and a phenomenal result for Ange Postecoglou, and fully deserving of making the final. Let's hope he goes one more step and brings home the trophy. But I think the way he's kind of managed this Europa League campaign, especially in the second half of the season, has been absolutely fantastic. And the level of performance we're seeing is extremely good level at the moment. And I'm really, really excited about that 21st of May.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, everyone was talking about Bodo Glimt's threats in the middle of the park and how they can do this tiki-taka play around you. And just with Romero, Van der Ven, Bentancur and Bissouma, the roles that he had them playing and the way he set it all up, it just nullified that all completely. And Bodo just could not play the game they wanted to play. So massive credit to the team, massive credit to Ange Postecoglou. And those are our player ratings.